Hey, I'm Sam.
And I'm Dane.
We shoot the shit about hockey before, during, and after the game.
But Puck Talk starts now.
Ooh, let's do it. Okay. Welcome to Puck Talk, everyone. I'm Sam.
And I'm Dane.
And Dane, how was your weekend?
Oh, it was pretty good.
Pretty good. You
pretty
hung
good.
out, drink some beers.
We had a good time.
Sunday night. Anything happen?
Something happened.
Ooh, well, it's for me too. I was at a hockey match.
Yes, we were.
Toronto, Columbus. Me and Dane went. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool because it was playoff mode, basically. The Leafs were fighting not for a playoff spot, which I'm kind of happy about because that would have been
Taking a couple of years off your life.
Yeah, jeez. But it was cool because there was something on the line. There was playing, I think, literally the best team in the playoffs and versus playing the worst team in the playoffs. They had that option. And which is weird for like one regular season game can determine that.
We'll talk about it later, but that just goes down. That just boils down to how awful the playoff format is and how.
Yeah.
You know, I was looking at the NBA and who the Raptors are going to face.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this makes so much sense.
It's
the
so
third place
simple.
team is going to play the sixth place team.
Yeah. They don't even have like the NHL before they went into this format had the 3 conference champs were at the top. The NBA doesn't even have that. It's just the 8 best.
I love
teams.
it. It's how it should be.
Really cool. I like it. But if you didn't see for some reason, last game of the regular season, Toronto lost 3-2 to Columbus in kind of a weird game. They won the game before, and that's the game that clinched them in the playoffs. An amazing, exciting game.
Real good.
Crazy. That's one of the best regular season games of the season, I would say.
You're basically entering the playoffs a couple games early. Like you got your fans are going to the game in hopes that they win. The fans who are there at that game want to see them win. They want to see them clinch while they're there. So they're loud. They're proud. You know, the game we went to, that was a good environment.
They were chanting, "We want Ottawa." Like
that's
thing.
like it gave me a little like I'm not a Toronto fan by any means, but that gave me like goosebumps.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
Dude, they did a great game too.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
That's one of my favorite things about the playoffs is all the production value. Like even now, all the teams pumping out their pump up videos, their highlight reels.
Totally.
You know, and then the first game, man, it's the best. Like
just the energy,
the anthems, the people who sing the anthems are pumped.
Yeah,
all out.
Totally. And Austin Matthews on Saturday said that crowd was the loudest crowd he's ever seen, and it's like, man, get ready because game 1 at the ACC or game 3, I guess, at the ACC of that series. It's going to be nuts. But yeah, Toronto ends up facing Washington in the first round because of that loss on Sunday. But at least they made it in.
Something really interesting that I read that I know you and I have actually partaken. That's not a word. Partaken? Is that a word?
Partaken's a word. I don't know what context you're going to use it in. But.
Jurassic Park, you know, they show the Raptors games last season when they're in the playoffs. We went a couple times. Yeah. And... You know, it's funny because the Raptors and the Leafs are in the playoffs this year, and that hasn't happened in a while. Yep. And I read that, and you read too, that they're going to be playing both the Raptors and the Leafs when they play at the same time, both at Maple Leaf Square. Yeah. Which will be so cool.
It's going to be overwhelming.
Yeah, I don't know how it's going to work. Yeah. Because they do usually play the audio, and they do have a lot of like...
Yeah, exactly.
Like when we went to the Raptors game, they had a lot of basketball-oriented kind of activities. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And
there's not a ton of room because it's mostly fans, and then there's vendors on the side. Yeah. How do you combine 2 sports?
Yeah, but we'll go. It'll be good.
It'll be good. I'm so excited. You're going to watch some Leafs games?
Yeah. I mean, I love playoff hockey. And you know what? Like living in Toronto, I know I'm a Montreal fan, but when the Leafs, the Jays, the Raptors, even TFC, when they're in the playoffs, like there's a buzz in the city.
It's a cool feeling.
It's
absolutely.
Everywhere you look, you know, the streetcars get the signs out, the storefronts, the bars have their special nights. And it's just a really cool feeling of, you know, feeling the embrace of people in their city. And I mean, and it's not that I don't like the Leafs. I'm a Montreal fan.
You have to not like.
And I actually had a conversation with Nathan, the guy who came with us the other night, that I used to hate the Leafs. I used to, I used to hate the Leafs. I used to rip on them. And I think I've turned a new leaf. It's not that I hate the Leafs.
What a pun. Did you catch that pun you just did?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Was that intentional? Sorry.
It's just, I live in Toronto. I shouldn't be such an asshole.
Yeah.
So
it's hard if there hasn't been a real rivalry with Leafs and Habs like in a playoff series or anything like that recently. So it's hard to have any animosity.
And I also like the fact, you also have to consider the fact that when I first moved to Toronto, that was kind of when I hated the Leafs.
Yeah.
I don't like Lupul. I thought that signing was awful. I didn't like Brian Burke. I don't like the boat. There's a bunch of moves that happened that I was like, we're Toronto. Like,
yeah.
The Toronto shouldn't be going out of their way, and and by no means do I mean this about Austin Matthews, because you'd be stupid not to take Austin Matthews, but for a long time they were chasing so many NCAA kids,
right?
And I had a bit of a hard time with that. Brian Burke loved going the NCAA route for a lot of his prospects, but if you were to look at the team now from the year I came to Toronto,
they ripped it all down.
Management, players, bench staff, everyone's gone.
They built everything from the very bottom up the right way, which is really cool. It's hard to not like how they've run their team, I'd say. But yeah, it's gonna be good. First game's on Thursday.
How do you feel about playing? What's your opinion on Capitals, Ovi, the fact that they've never really made it? Ovi's never made it past the second round.
That's nuts. It's crazy, and obviously, so they have so much on their weight on their shoulders going into this first round, because if they lose, it's going to be absolutely heartbreaking. Even if they lose the second round, they need to go to the finals this year. They're a team that they've really pushed all their chips in the middle of the table and said, if we're not winning this year, we're going to have cap trouble. We're not going to be able to sign everyone back. It's not going to be doable. So this is the year to make it happen. And so because of all of that crazy stuff, and there's no pressure on the Leafs on the other side, so that mental aspect could play in. It's still Washington, so I don't know, but the Leafs don't have any issues on their end in terms of being scared of what's going on.
Could you imagine if Toronto Maple Leafs win?
I've listened to a couple of podcasts recently. There's one podcast in particular called Puck Soup, and it's two American guys, Greg Wyshynski, Dave Lozo, and they have no bias, they have no Toronto media bias, no Canada bias. They're Americans, and they were talking about this is a team that legitimately very dark horse. But if that team gets hot, they can ride hot goaltending in Anderson. It's a possibility. And hearing that was just surreal. To have people really talking in terms of this is an underdog team, and it would be insane. The hockey world would blow up. Toronto would be shut down. Literally, I would run into the streets.
Everyone would. Everyone would.
You wouldn't go to sleep. You wouldn't go to work the next day.
And by no means, if they get past Washington, there's still a long road ahead. But being downtown Toronto, then if they were to beat the Washington Capitals in the first round of the playoffs, being downtown Toronto that night is going to be chaos.
Oh, unreal. No matter if you follow hockey at all or not, you're going to want to be part of that moment in the city.
It's been really nice in Toronto this week, and actually the game, so Saturday night, the game that they won, that they clinched, I had my door open. I live on the 30th floor of a building down along Lakeshore. I had my door open, and when I was watching the game, and when I heard the buzzer go, I heard car honks. I heard other people on other balconies yelling. I heard people on the I live pretty close to the Gardner. I could hear people on the Gardner honking the horns. My girlfriend had come back from taking our dog for a walk. And she was like, "What just happened?
What's going on?"
She was like, "Did Toronto just win?" Because she when she left, she knew I was watching the game. I was like, "Yeah," and she was like, "Everyone's going nuts. Everywhere along my walk, people were talking about it."
You forget that because Toronto's been bad for so long, and I haven't lived here since they've been in the playoffs. I wasn't living in the city for this season where they lost in Game 7. But you forget because of that, because they've sucked, that people care so much about the Leafs. Before it was just the Leafs suck, whatever. And a lot of people that don't follow hockey were just kind of oh, the Leafs are actually good. Like the day they clinched, it was all of a sudden kind of a revelation for everyone, being like, oh wow, now we're in this. Like we have the city spirit, behind the Leafs. So yeah, it's. I don't know. If we had gotten that Ottawa matchup, I could have seen a realistic path to even the conference final.
Totally.
But this is a hard. Even if somehow you got past Washington by a miracle, you have to play Columbus or Pittsburgh in the next round, and those are gonna beat you down those 2 rounds.
Yeah, for sure. And you have to consider the fact that Toronto's getting all its productions from 4 kids under the age of 3. How old's Connor Brown? 4 kids under
Connor
the age
Brown
of 20.
20. I think he's the same age as Nylander, but like
that's
super
crazy.
young.
Like that is crazy.
Riley's like 23.
Yeah.
Kadri's an old guy on the team, and he's the same age as me. He's like born in 1990, so that's
Yeah, it's just. Oh, I love
crazy.
The playoffs. It's gonna be some of the best hockey.
Cool. But yeah, the Leafs probably aren't winning that series.
So let's hear it. Let's get a prediction. Truthfully honest with yourself, what do you think is gonna happen? Not what you want to happen.
Yeah.
What you think is gonna happen.
I think it's gonna be Washington in 6. And I'm okay with that as a Leafs fan because you have to look at the bigger picture. If they get their asses handed to them and they can kind of hold their own in this first round, that's a great learning experience for them.
Totally.
It's better than playing like an injury-depleted Ottawa and being like, oh, okay, we're better than we think we are. They're going to have a hard dose of reality. Like, this is the premier team in the league, and this is what it's like playing against them in the playoffs.
And they leave. If they lose, they go home for the summer, and they know
exactly
what they have to do, what they have to accomplish, and that can be very. I know there's a lot of people who say like intangibles, whatever, experience, whatever, that it doesn't matter. But like you have to understand that
it's
if you get even just the experience, like you understand like Matthews on Saturday night being like this is the loudest crowd I've ever heard. Buddy, it's going to get louder.
You got to know that. It's
going to get louder,
and
you're going to be on a microscope. Everything you say is going to be examined. If you say one thing wrong in the media, you're going to get blasted. Like,
no doubt,
the
he's
whole world's
nervous
watching.
as hell.
Oh, for sure.
And like he does one round of this, he comes back next year. He's not going to be as nervous.
Exactly.
That's a great, very intangible thing. So that's all right. Well, so the other matchup that concerns kind of one of the two of us is Montreal Canadiens and New York Rangers in that first round matchup. How do you feel about that little redemption story kind of on the line there?
Yeah. I don't think there's a team that I would have rathered play in the first round.
Yeah, because of that storyline.
Because that's not like there's a couple things like the storyline for sure. Yeah. Like, man, I can't even tell you how upsetting that was.
That conference final and
like
Price got
it just sucked. And then I don't know.
And there's got to be bad blood. Like, how do you feel as a Habs fan looking at Chris Kreider taking the ice and
whatever? Like Chris Kreider is Chris Kreider. Like I got all the justice I needed when last season when Carey Price almost took a run at him behind the net. That was that was wonderful. That was that made me happy. But you know what? Carey Price has gone on to win 11 of the last 12 against the Rangers. They swept them this season. Sorry. I feel good. I think it's gonna be a great series. They're no doubt a good team. Mm-hmm. Lundqvist is the thing about this is both teams. They could play like garbage, and both their goalies could just stand on their head and just take them there.
Total franchise goalies on either side. Yeah.
So it's going to be good. I think we're going to see a really strong goaltending performance. Yeah. Carey Price is going to be I'm hoping, godlike. Mm-hmm.
He kind of needs to be. I mean, I'm not saying that the Habs don't have the skating talent, but at the end of the day, Cup champions are usually anchored by an amazing goalie.
For sure. And part of goaltending is one thing, and it's just I think with the playoffs, all it is it's about getting hot at the right time. Mm-hmm. Everything's you just have to have everything clicking for 16 games.
Yep.
You have a little window, and you just gotta be clicking during that. So I feel good. Yeah, I'm intrigued. I feel good. I think it's gonna be a great series. Carey Price is typical Carey Price being so nonchalant in interviews. There was an interview that the reporters are trying to get him to say something about bad blood or like redemption or something, and he was having none of it. He's like, they're a good hockey team. Yes, no, yes, no.
Well, the thing I like about Carey Price is he'll say things like that, but then he'll like do things on the ice, like he'll punch someone in the head, or he'll like hit Kreider. Yeah, like that's great.
I think Carey Price, for how good he is, I think he's kind of the guy who's just kind of sick of being run. Like he's been run so much in the last 3 seasons, and I think the Kyle Palmieri thing, the Chris Kreider thing, I think it's just like, I don't think it's him being like, screw you, don't touch me. I think it's him setting a tone or sending a message to the league about goalies being run. Because, like, the biggest hot mess in the league right now is that call, the goalie interference call.
Yep.
Like, it's so inconsistent. Is it a goalie? They'll call penalty. They'll call goals back based on goalie interference, but they won't give them a penalty.
Right.
Like, it's just, and I think he has multiple quotes, like, airing his opinion, and I think that's all it is. I think, earlier it was just like he snapped and he was sending, I don't think it was as radical as people think. I think it was just kind of like sending a message to the league, like, guys, you have to get your shit together. And because how many, like, that's literally the only time that he's ever kind of.
Well, it can be dangerous. It's not even just about like goals getting called back or not. We saw Anderson on Saturday get the elbow to the head from Sestito.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. Goalies can't be roughed around that much.
Yeah, for sure. I think, and no doubt that they're going to run with that redemption storyline through the whole series. They're going to beat it to, like, it's going to suck, but I'm not looking at it that way. I'm just looking for, I think they're going to.
You feel like it's a good matchup for Montreal in terms of like the teams, because it looks like New York's not that hot in their last 10. They went 3-4-3 to end of the regular season.
Montreal's the hottest team since March.
Oh, I remember reading
7th or something. Yeah, I can't remember, but I mean, if there is a time to catch fire, it'd be right now.
That's the other thing the Leafs had in their favor, sort of, until the fact it didn't matter anymore once they're playing Washington. But they were hot going into the season. Yeah,
but like it's crazy. Like, look at Columbus. We'll talk about the Columbus and Pittsburgh series next. Talking about hot streaks. Columbus, besides their last game, against the Leafs.
Oh, they were stinking it up like to end the season.
6 losses in a row?
Yeah.
For a team that only went, I don't think they went more than 2 losses in a row throughout the whole series, throughout the whole season until the end.
Right.
So, I mean,
that's not a good look for a team that just got good this season. It shows maybe like it doesn't feel like they've solidified their status as a real elite team.
And it's just like, that's a mental game. Like, how do you think about how the Habs feel about they're playing right now? Like they get a win in Detroit without 6 of their starters.
Yeah.
With Charlie Lindgren in that, and they beat a game against, they beat Detroit. They're the hottest team down the stretch, and that like that can do wonders.
Yeah.
And then you take a team like Columbus, who's 6 in a row at one, like besides last game, six losses in a row.
Yeah.
The coach isn't happy, the players aren't happy. You're not as stoked about playoffs. There's that sense of doubt in the back of your head.
Yep.
And that, like, playoffs are crazy. Playoffs, you lose, you go into a game, you lose 2 in a row, and then you go into one game.
Yeah.
The worst thing you can do when you're down 2-0 is lose and go down 3-0. And it's just like, when those games are, if it's a tie game in the third period of the game 3, you're one mistake away from going down 3-0.
Players realize the kind of like statistical context for being down 3-0.
It's a bad call.
Bad call. But the fact that almost no team ever has come back from a 3-0 lead. We saw it a couple of years ago with LA against San Jose, I think.
Yeah.
But that was such a rare case. It almost never happens. So that must factor into your mental state when you realize that.
And the other thing, it's really a shame because Columbus is a really exciting team. They're a young team. I'm pretty sure they're a little bit younger than the Leafs.
Really?
I know they came into the season younger.
Wow.
Their starting lineup was Leafs were number 2.
Okay.
Youngest team, but it would be like, it's a shame.
Yeah.
The biggest shame is that Columbus Blue Jackets are playing the Pittsburgh Penguins in the first round.
That's tough for them.
Like that shouldn't be a first round matchup. It's really too bad that the former Stanley Cup champions are playing probably one of the hottest teams this year in the first round.
I guess the idea behind it is to promote rivalries because then you're playing people in your division. But that, I mean, it's not.
Don't get me wrong. I think there is a rivalry building between Columbus and Pittsburgh.
They played a lot of
yeah
series recently.
But yeah, it just goes to show like it's a stupid playoff format because that should not be a.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm taking Pittsburgh all day.
Yeah. See, I really waffled on this because I think a couple of weeks ago I thought Pittsburgh is kind of a lock to go to the final. Their experience and all of that. But Letang's out long term. He's not coming back. Malkin has been injured till the end of the regular season. So
I hate to burst your bubble, but Letang's always out.
That's true. He was around last year though, right? And they won the cup. He can be a difference maker. He can be a difference maker. And I don't know. And the fact that Columbus won their last game and now they get a couple days to reset might do something for them. So I don't want to play devil's advocate, and I do want to play devil's advocate.
play devil's advocate.
I think that Bobrovsky's going to carry this team on his back, get their confidence up. They're going to beat Letang-less Pittsburgh, and it's going to be a huge thing for Columbus as a franchise. Yeah, that's my pick.
What's how many games?
I'm gonna say 7. I think that's one that goes the distance.
Oh, that'd be so cool. I love Game 7s. Game 7s, nothing gets me more excited than Game 7s.
Totally.
I like Pittsburgh in 6, maybe even 5.
Ooh, wow.
Like it's Pittsburgh. Right. Like it's Crosby, it's Malkin, it's Kessel. Like Kessel.
Yeah.
Kessel's not even playing well right now. He has 1 goal in his last 18 games, I think. Something like that. 17, 18, or 19.
Yeah.
And it's like, sure, he's not scoring, but like, playoffs are a different, like a whole different game.
Yeah.
And Kessel plays well in the playoffs.
He's had experience. Once you win a cup, you kind of lose, I feel like, the stress to a certain
how
extent.
good was Pittsburgh's third line last year? They scored I can't remember off the top of my head, but they had like some stupid amount of points for a third line. Like,
yeah. Kessel should have won Conn Smythe, really.
I agree.
Yeah.
I 100% agree that he should have won, but it was Crosby's done winning awards. I mean he's not, but I mean I think that was somewhat political.
Yeah.
Like that award I feel
his status as
I feel like that award made him a legend. Yeah. I feel like he's done it all at least once. He's good. Right. He can kind of ride it out. But like people come alive in the playoffs, and that's like one of the things that are magical. But
that's true.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. I'm gonna go Pittsburgh in 6.
Yeah, they're a hard team to bet against.
They have 2 starting goalies. They, they
really
they have 2 first line centermen.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it's hard to say no to.
They can get a new coach halfway through the season and still win the cup.
That's really crazy.
All right.
But what the last matchup in the East, I guess, Boston and Ottawa.
Which I'm pretty excited
we should have
for.
been in. Yeah, that's a cool one. Yeah, that's
a cool one. Yeah,
I don't know. I think that Ottawa, like I said earlier in the show, I think Ottawa is probably the weakest team that's in the playoffs. They were pretty hot coming in towards the end of the year, and then they've had a bit of a shaky ending. A lot of injuries. Carlson was out. Mathat's obviously out. Stone, I think, was out for quite a bit.
They played and won 2 games with 4 of their top 6 forwards out earlier in the season.
That's nuts.
I feel like the Ottawa Senators are like kind of a dark horse. Not saying that they're gonna go far, but like I feel
they might surprise
something about
people.
them. I don't know what it is. Something about them. Maybe it's me being a Habs fan and them always beating us.
Yeah.
But
it's interesting.
I don't think Boston's that good. I think they kind of squeaked in. Carlo's out. Krug, I think, is questionable for game 1.
Oh, really? Okay.
I just don't think their top 6 is that strong.
I don't know. I think Ottawa's a little too shaky. I'm gonna go with Boston in this series.
All right. Anyway, I like when we don't agree. Okay, yeah, Boston and what?
Boston in 6.
Ottawa in 7.
Ooh, all right. Yeah, I do like when we disagree. I think we're gonna agree on a few more in the West, though.
Yeah.
In particular, Edmonton and San Jose.
Edmonton all day.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Like,
I know they shouldn't really be a dark horse because they finished quite well, but I would take them as a serious dark horse because they haven't been in the playoffs for so long. It's kind of the same thing as the Leafs where they've been untested in the playoffs, all young guys. But I think this is a team. McDavid is next level.
I want to talk about something really quick that's not necessarily like to do with the playoffs, but do you remember when McDavid started doing media scrums when even a little bit before he actually played in the NHL? He was awkward. He was awkward and he was bad at it. It was awful. It was cringeworthy. He didn't know how to speak to the media. He stuttered. He just didn't handle himself well, and it came off very unprofessional.
I remember people picking apart his facial expressions when they saw Edmonton won the draft lottery, and he looked like terrified or like upset.
It's really interesting. I watched an Edmonton game last week and watched the post-media scrum online after. Mm-hmm. And I watched the McDavid interview.
Yep.
And like McDavid pre-draft, even pre-first NHL game to McDavid now, he's a pro. He's an absolute pro. He talks well. He answers questions. You know how there's like the standard, oh, well, we got to work the system and we got to get some good bounces and we got to
I get that that's your brain off and just say words.
And I get that hockey players do that, and a lot of it's it does make sense what they're saying, but a lot of hockey interviews sound the same.
Yeah, totally.
McDavid almost sounds, and like I use the word intelligent like kind of lightly, but like he sounds very intelligent when he speaks. He sounds very professional, very well mannered, well meaning. And he carries himself with a lot of grace.
Right.
And I think, in a way, that says something about him as a hockey player, about how he, a lot of people gave him shit about having the captaincy at such a young age.
Right.
And, and then being in the playoffs, we just spoke about, the experience and stuff. And I think McDavid is ready to kind of prove the world wrong. He got injured last year. Even if you go back to the juniors when he punched the glass out of like pure emotion.
Yeah.
He got so much heat for that. It's like, guys, he's an 18-year-old kid trying to like make it in the world. Like
biggest moment of like his career.
And people just harp on him so much. So I feel like in a way, now that he went and won the scoring title, now it's just like
he's got all the confidence in the world. He knows if Crosby's not the best player, he's absolutely the best player in the world.
And let's keep it civil here. Crosby is the best player in the world.
No.
But McDavid is out to prove he has something to prove, and he's one of those guys that can change a game. Like, man, like he skates, he passes, he shoots, he has it all. He can. It's probably such a joy playing on a line with him.
Is he your Art Ross favorite? Or not Art Ross, Hart.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Well, it's the fact that he has done more for his team relative to what they would be without him than Crosby would. I think it's got to be between those two probably. Bobrovsky maybe.
Maybe Bob. No, I think it's McDavid. I think it's McDavid in my books.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much locked up.
That's it. Anyway, I'm a big McDavid fan. I'm rooting for him. I'm going Edmonton in 5.
Oh wow. I wouldn't even go. There's something there in San Jose. They went to the Cup last year, but I think
they went to the Cup when they had like Joe Thornton playing on a god level. Joe Thornton stinks this year.
It's true. He's declined a lot.
And I feel like last year they just got. I don't want to say the word lucky, but I think just last year everything was clicking. I don't think everything's clicking this year for San Jose.
Yeah, I see that a bit. I'm gonna take Edmonton, obviously, but I'm going to take them in 7. I think San Jose is going to put up a bit of a fight.
Cool. I dig that.
Cool. Next up, Calgary-Anaheim. That's a cool matchup.
Anaheim sneaks in first place in the...
That was such a close division.
Anaheim's always in it. Oh, man.
Yeah. Even when you think that, like, they're falling off, their top guys are getting older, they're still there.
Yeah, I think Anaheim's kind of in the same boat as San Jose. I feel like the last few years they've been clicking, but like I don't think Anaheim has what it takes to go deep. I mean, Perry isn't playing like Perry.
Yeah,
And players like Perry are so valuable in the playoffs. Like that, people who can draw penalties, who can get under other players' skin. That's 100% the reason why Andrew Shaw came to Montreal, because of his playoff performance.
Yeah.
Marc Bergevin worked in Chicago when he was drafted. He likes what he sees from Shaw, and that's why he was brought in. Like his playoff performance, getting under people's skin, his physical abilities, and Perry not playing like Perry is going to hurt Anaheim in the playoffs.
Yep, and it's a tone-setting thing. Because if you
100%.
Look to your leader and you see him not playing at 100%, it kind of sets that tone.
The best part of playoff hockey is the first 2 minutes of the first game. Everyone's like...
That really sets your momentum for everything else that follows.
Yeah.
Totally.
And Calgary, Calgary's playing...
They're a cool young team. They haven't been the hottest going into the playoffs, but they've had their red-hot streaks this year.
Totally. And you have to realize, too, Calgary, man, I drafted Brian Elliott in fantasy this year.
Yeah.
And I held on to him. You didn't.
I didn't. I was in another fantasy league and did not hold on to him. That was
And he's playing, right now he's playing like what Calgary wanted him to be playing all year long. Which is, if there's a time to be playing well, it's right now. So, I think... Plus, it would also be really cool to see a bunch of Canadian teams make it past the first round.
Oh, totally.
But I'm going to say Calgary and... you know what? The other thing we have to factor into, Calgary hasn't won in Anaheim in 12 years.
I did not know that.
Maybe not 12. 1 sec. I'm gonna fact check that. Something crazy, though.
Wow. That kind of solidifies my feeling, because I was going to go Anaheim. They've been in the playoffs enough. They've obviously haven't gone super deep in a little while, but that's a team with more experience at the end of the day. And Elliott has been so up and down. We don't know what he's going to be like in the playoffs.
True.
So I'm going to go Anaheim in 6.
I'm going to say Calgary in 7.
Okay. I mean, I would love to see that. That would be cool. That's a cool young team. Johnny Hockey's awesome.
All right, stand by. I'm looking for this. We got to get this fact up here.
Okay. That would be crazy if that's the truth.
It is, man. It's something incredible. The Flames have not won a regular season. I mean, it's regular season. Have not won a regular season game in the Honda Center since 2004.
That's wild.
13 years.
The Leafs full season playoff drought.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, maybe they'll.
So I mean, they'll have to overcome that. But I mean, it'll be. I'm getting so psyched for playoff hockey. Just talking about
I know it's pumped. I'm pumped. St. Louis, Minnesota. That's an interesting one, because Minnesota was such a crazy team all year. They were so red hot, and they blew it. They blew a tire at the end, and I don't know what happened. Dubnyk wasn't playing like Dubnyk anymore. They kind of recovered a little bit coming into the very end of the season, winning 4 in a row. And then you have St. Louis, who's kind of Washington West in terms of their playoff choke ability.
Washington West. That's actually so funny. I think it's going to be a wicked series. It's the whole St. Louis factor is interesting to me. Tarasenko's got to go deep at some point soon.
He's
like
I guess I would say he's underrated because he's a top 10, maybe top 5 player in any given season. He's crazy good.
It'll be interesting. It'll be. I think this is one of the more interesting series just because of the dynamic between the two teams. St. Louis is a team that they carry a little bit of pressure to go deep.
Totally.
They have a history of not going deep.
Minnesota,
they're a hot team for a long, long time this season, and they've kind of cooled down. And if you look at Dubnyk's goalie stats, everything's kind of. He started really hot.
Yeah, a month ago he was a runaway winner for the Vezina.
Exactly, and now I don't think he's in the conversation.
He probably gets nominated, but definitely doesn't win.
Does he get? Montreal fan speaking here.
Yeah, you think it?
Could Price get on the ballot?
Maybe
he has the best save percentage since Julian took over their team.
Yeah, he's been red hot.
I mean, like, if he...
And then you have to think, is Holtby in it?
And he also, Price went 9-0-1 to begin the season. And then he just, there's only maybe 7 weeks where he wasn't playing godlike.
I guess it's what's in the hockey... Is it the hockey writers that nominate?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
And then it's like the top whatever get on the ballot, and then they vote from the ballot.
So it might be like a recency bias that...
Totally.
Price has been hot to end the season, Dubnyk hasn't.
Yeah, and you know what? Minnesota, the other interesting thing about Minnesota is they went shopping at the deadline.
Yeah.
And they didn't really get better.
No.
At least from what the standings show.
Yeah. They've got a couple young guys, but they've brought a lot of pieces in over the years from other places.
For sure.
Ryan Sutter, Parise, Stahl this year. And obviously their other deadline acquisitions.
And I'm really hoping Eriksson Ek gets to play in the playoffs. Like, just a really... He scores. He scored in his first SHL game, cross seas, professional game. His first AHL game, his first NHL game, the first stint, and then he came back up into the NHL and he scored his first game again.
Nuts.
And I feel like
he's a name that gets thrown
under pressure. And I feel like that's the kind of guys you're looking to add to your team when you go into the playoffs.
Yeah. I think both teams have a chip on their shoulder, which makes this an interesting series. That Minnesota wants to get deep, and they haven't.
So I'm pretty torn on this. I think it could go either way. I think it's going to 7. I think I take St. Louis in 7. Sorry, Clive.
Yes, Clive. I'm gonna go with your team. I'm gonna say Minnesota in 7. It's gonna be an interesting series. I'm really excited to see that one go down, and I really want to see Minnesota do well. So I have a bit of a kind of a bias towards that.
Just so everyone knows, Clive is our friend who never watched hockey and got sick of not knowing what we're talking about. So he started watching hockey, and he just picked the Minnesota Wild to be his team, and it's just stuck.
And he seriously knows his Minnesota Wild.
He knows his
now.
Minnesota Wild now. Yo, he's got a pretty big head, and we went shopping one day.
Clive's got a pretty big head.
And I'm not even kidding you. I'm not even kidding you. We walked into the New Era hat store on Queen, and there is one Minnesota Wild hat on like a discount, whatever. And it was the biggest size they make, and it fit him perfectly. And it was like, I swear to God, it was meant to be.
Yeah, it was like hidden like underneath something.
I swear to God, it was meant to be.
It was amazing.
Whatever. Yeah, sorry, Clive. I'm going St. Louis in 7.
I believe in them. Nashville, Chicago.
The last series.
That's one that...
I could care less.
You could care... But you know what's going to go down.
No, go Nashville. I'm so tired of the Blackhawks winning.
I'm tired, but the thing is, too, the Blackhawks have done really well in the playoffs and other seasons where they haven't been as hot in the regular season.
Totally.
They're crazy hot in the regular season this year.
They're just the team that's always good. They can always win. You can never count them out.
Yeah, totally.
You can never be like, I think Blackhawks are going to lose. Like, they probably won't.
Mm-hmm. And the more they win, the less pressure they have, the more confident they get. And Nashville's another team. Nashville, St. Louis, and Minnesota are 3 teams that have never really been able to prove themselves. St. Louis got to a conference final last year, but other than that, they haven't really gone far. They seem like they should be in their prime. They've got a lot of weight on their shoulders too.
Yeah, I like Chicago. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I hate Chicago. It's not like I think their players are shitty or scum or whatever. Like, they're all good players. I like most of the. I like most of the team.
You just get tired of them.
Yeah, I'm just tired of them winning. I'm just tired of, for a long time. I was just like, oh great, Chicago in the playoffs, in the Cup final again. Like, I'm over it.
It's more fun to be a fan of a team that has to work for it to get to the top. I don't know what it'd be like to be a Blackhawks fan. It's like, oh cool, we won another cup.
Yeah. I'm gunning for a Montreal.
Nashville?
No, Montreal Edmonton final.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No,
that'd be sick.
Oh, that'd be unreal. I'd be excited about that.
Half the world just like tunes out because it's
like,
more of the US.
NBC's like, we might as well not air this. Whatever. Who cares?
Well, I don't know. I'm gonna say we are talking what we think is gonna happen, not what we want to happen. So I'm probably gonna say Chicago in 6.
Chicago in 5. Woo. That's going to be the most kind of just dominating series, I'd say.
All right. We got a few watchers on Instagram.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we got it. And we do have a couple questions.
Okay,
you type questions, we'll answer them. If we go back to the beginning.
Let's see. Bring on those questions.
What happened to Washington? I don't know what happened to Washington.
What do you mean, what happened to Washington?
Did you hear that not all NHL playoff games are nationally televised? I bet you don't live in Canada.
Yeah. That is definitely a thing in Canada.
What's the status of Couture and Thornton? If they can't contribute, I think Edmonton takes the series. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, that's what we just said. Like, Thornton hasn't been Thornton this year.
Thornton hasn't been the Thornton that San Jose needed to get them deep.
Yeah.
He was clicking, like, he was unreal last year.
Yeah.
He had a great season.
Been good. He's had a solid season. Last season he had injury troubles and didn't play a ton of games and wasn't playing super hot when he was, but he came back in the playoffs, obviously, because he helped his team get to the Cup final. That team's all about Burns driving them offensively and defensively. That's
100%.
Yeah. Another Hart candidate potentially.
I think Thornton's going to play. He's out right now. I'm not sure about Logan Couture.
Is he? Oh yeah, he was injured. Right.
So I'm not sure if he's. That's a heartbreaking injury for San Jose.
Oh, totally.
Like, he's probably their best two-way forward.
Yeah, they kind of need him. And when you're playing such a young, dynamic team in Edmonton, that's gonna spell some trouble.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What do you think of Alex Burrows playing for Ottawa? Can he be a difference maker?
Guess so.
I think he's proved
doing
that.
Good in Ottawa. Yeah,
I think he's proved that. I think he's ready for the playoffs.
That's a great deadline acquisition.
There has to be some kind of pride when you get traded and the team immediately wants to sign you.
Yeah,
like, that team wanted you for a reason.
Right.
Like, and that has to give you some kind of confidence boost. Just a vote of confidence, essentially. That gets you to the level that you need to get to play good hockey.
Right.
I think he can be. And Montreal was rumored to be to bring him in at the deadline. And I never liked that. I didn't want Montreal to touch.
But it worked out. He's one of the better deadline acquisitions, is he not?
Yeah. No, he's been playing good. He's been playing great.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that'll be I think he can maybe make a difference. I mean, I still don't take Ottawa, but yeah, he's doing good. What's the deal with Washington mean? Is there something I missed?
Nah, I don't know. I think it's just someone being kind of stupid. Yeah, we were talking about Washington. I don't know. I'm not.
What's the deal with Washington? They're sick.
There's people on here. Like, I could read you more comments, but they're just kind of useless. I could.
Come on.
One of the questions were.
Get your shit together.
How sad are you that the Bruins are the best team ever, and we're better than any team that you like?
Any team you like. Name
I'm not going to answer that.
They're not. That answered.
They're not. I agree. Question? No, I would
write that as a Leafs.
It's just the internet being the internet.
The internet.
All right. So those are our predictions.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm so excited for the playoffs.
I'm excited for the playoffs this year.
It's great to have all Toronto teams in. So many Canadian teams. That sucked last year.
Yeah. That alone, it kind of has me a little jazzed.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be sweet to see more playoff teams, more Canadian teams at one point in the playoffs than American teams.
Yeah.
Or just a Canadian team winning it. I can't even be that mad if a Canadian team wins it.
No, any Canadian team winning it. I'll be happy if the Habs win, to be honest.
Yeah. I'd be happy if the Leafs won. I mean, we probably wouldn't have a city after. We'd probably have to move to Montreal or something.
We would have to quit our jobs and just become like street rioters for the next month. No, that's not cool. Don't riot, people. But people are going to riot. It's going to happen.
All right. So we hope everyone enjoys their first week of playoff hockey. I know we will.
Yep, and thanks a lot for listening to us again.
And keep in mind that we have this Instagram channel. We are pumping lots of stuff into it lately.
Yeah, keep your eyes peeled on it, especially as the playoffs ramp up, because there's going to be lots of content there. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We're all at Puck Talk Show. Our show is available on YouTube at Puck Talk Show as well. And that's the show. So we'll probably be back soon.
Yeah,
talk more playoff talk. Puck playoff talk. This has been Puck Talk. And thanks for talking hockey with us.